Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Monday night live stream. How the hell are you all doing? How has your weekend been? I hope your Monday has been pretty kind to you. I hope you haven't had too much problems today. So yeah, we've got a pretty lively chat tonight already. There've been people in. I mean, we had a few comments on earlier on in the day, but we lost them. They kind of drift off for whatever reason. Let me just adjust my chat here, so I've got the live chat and not just the top chat. Yeah, I think we lost some of the comments earlier in the day, but yeah, I think the chat started about 6:30 tonight, but there was plenty going on. What I'll do is I'll very quickly say hi to a few people, and then I'll touch on what the chat's about tonight as well. And don't forget, 2 chances to win one of the coveted BlackJack mugs tonight. So 1 chance, you might have already missed it, or you might have already entered it, and this was for the Facebook group. So I'm going to draw that live tonight. The other chance is for everybody watching tonight and anybody that watches this back later, there'll be another chance for you to win a mug. So stay tuned for that as well. So yes, who have we got in the chat then? Let's have a look. We've got, and I'm not going to say hi to everybody individually. I'll say hi in chunks because there's too many of you these days. We've got Peter Nicholas. Good evening, mate. I say hello to you. You're one of my members on YouTube as well, so you deserve your welcome there. We've got Christopher Warden. We've got VJ. Good evening to you too. We've got Tolmord back as well. Good evening, Tolmord. How are you doing? Long time no see. We've also got, where are we at now? We've got Cardos in as well. Good evening, Cardos. He's saying there. He's on time this week. Nice to see you, fella. We've also got Glyn Seymour. We've got Billy Mark. Good evening to you too. We've got Black's Clerics in as well. Good evening to you, buddy. We've got Nick Moore. And we've got Paul Palms. Good evening to you both. We've got Mark Berracloth as well. He says a Sawadee crap, which is good morning from Bangkok. I think you said it was 3 o'clock in the morning, mate, so I really do appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much, my friend. We've got Joel Wrigley in as well. We've got Christian Reeves in. Good evening to you too. Thank you very much for coming in. We've got Glenn Griffin. We've got the Mortal Realms. Says finally caught one. Good evening to you both. We've got Tom Dean as well. He says the more hair you lose, the more head you get. Somebody once told me, what was it? You know you're going bald when you spend more on face wash than you do on shampoo. We've got Reluctant Artie. Good evening, Douglas. Matt Mountain's in as well. He says, woohoo, evening, Blackjackers. He's painting up some Vanguard ghouls for tonight's hashtag Manic Monday. We haven't had a Manic Monday in a little while, mate. But yeah, good that you're still cracking on with it. We've got Craig Lowther in as well. Good evening, fella. He says, first game of Warcry with a girlfriend was her first game of tabletop. Interesting, mate. Need to find out more about how that went. We've got Henry Mendez in. Good evening, Henry. We've got Will C. Silver MKI. Good evening to you both. Jason Collins is in as well, back for another Monday. Tasrin77 says, long time listener, first time say hiya. Thank you very much, my buddy. We've got Andrew Fairbanks. He says, evening from 102 degrees Fahrenheit, Texas. It's a lot cooler here, mate, so I pity you, I really do. We've got Blizzards in as well. We've got Victor Saboya. He says, I have it sealed. Is it really worth it? I must have missed something there. We've got Andy Smith in as well. Michael Marines, Kieran Morris. We've got Ben Zolot Abana. I think that is. I hope I haven't pronounced your name too wrong there. Thank you for coming in, folks. Al Cluley's in as well. Hal Martin, Steve Evans, Tim Kelly, Marcus Hunt. We've got Dawid. And we've also got Greg Zovich. He's in Portland, Oregon on the Pacific West Coast. So there's a whole bunch of people in them. I'm sure I'll be able to say hi to a few more of you as well as it goes on. And we'll see how the numbers do. But tonight's live chat, I need to just double check exactly how exactly I've phrased the title of it is. Why Warcry has reignited my love for miniature gaming. So, obviously from my point of view, my perspective, I'm going to be chatting about why Warcry has kind of really sort of lit the flame under my miniature gaming hobby again. However, from a chat perspective, I want you lot to chat about what games have really kind of given you that little bit of a kick up the backside. If you've been in a bit of a hobby slump, what has really kind of given you that second wind, that burst of energy to get you back into gaming again? Because for me, it's Warcry, and I'll go into more detail and explain why it really has been for me. And I'll probably explain a little bit about how I kind of got into a bit of a slump as well. But yeah, for you, if you're not into Warcry but you still come here for the chat, I want to hear what games have really kicked you up the backside. And it might be a long time ago, it might be kind of more recently. Well, I'll keep the chat fairly open, and you can tell me all about your stuff. So, a few more people just come in. Well, we've got Voctor says, good evening from Canada. We've got Austin Thornhill from LA. I'm a big LA Rams fan, mate, so welcome to the chat. We've got Bobby Clarkin as well. He said he just bought Warcry last week. It was the girlfriend's idea to get it. Well, there you go, mate. It sounds like you've got a keeper. We've got Phil Hall in as well. He says, evening, he's finally got to a live stream. Thank you, Phil. And 2+ Tough is in as well. He said it's Warcry for me as well. To be honest, buddy, I saw your video the other day. I'd already had this in my head as to why, because I've literally been blasting through painting stuff these last kind of couple of weeks since Warcry released, and I'll come on to that as well. So this was always going to be in my chat tonight, and then I saw you'd made something, kind of a bit of a stream while you were sitting painting, and I sat and watched it while I was doing, or I sat and listened to it, I should say, while I was painting some of my stuff over the weekend. And I think we certainly do share quite a few thoughts as well. So it's good to have you in the chat, mate, anyway. Paul M's in as well. He says, interested to hear the topic tonight. Lord of the Rings always gets me back because I've loved Tolkien for 40 years. And we've got, bit of chat there. Lots of different games coming up. Please do, if you want to chat to me directly, if you want me to kind of read something out, if you want to highlight it, just at BlackJack Legacy in the chat, because the chat is really lively tonight. I think we've got something like in the region of, there's about 90 or 100 people in already, and we've only been going 5 minutes. So it's going to be a lively chat, I can tell. So, at BlackJack Legacy if you want something sort of specific. I just want to say a huge thank you to my Patreons as well. Had a few new Patreons in the last week or so. I did a post over on my Patreon page, which gives a bit of background into what goes into making a YouTube video for this channel. I'm sure everybody's channels are probably slightly different, and I might go a little bit further than some, or some might go further than me. But I got a quite nice kind of reaction to that, and it was nice to share a bit more behind-the-scenes stuff with people over on Patreon. So thank you to anybody who's more recently joined the Patreon as well, and thanks to everybody that continue to support me. What I'll do is I'm going to start with the mug giveaway. Now, the mug giveaway, if you're in the Facebook group, you'll already seen this. So these are, for those that don't know, it's just a bit of fun, really. It's kind of, these are prizes that I give away every now and again, or they're things that I will gift to people for whatever reason. So at the minute, the only people that's got these mugs is Sean Skullmunch, if he's around. He's got one of these. He was the first ever winner of one on the live stream. And the other one has gone to Paul Welsh, who drove all the way from Manchester to my house, came and stayed overnight. We filmed a game of The Walking Dead, and we kind of hung out and had a pizza and stuff. And he's the first person to come to see me to game and play a game on the camera, even though it never got to see you guys because there was some audio issues about halfway through it. However, he got one as well for coming to see me. So I've always said I will never sell these mugs. So these ones specifically, I've got the BlackJack Legacy logo on the front. They've got "Don't Drink Me" #mugwatch on the back. So you can use them for your coffee or whatever, or you can use them as a bit of a wash pot for your brushes. But this particular design and this particular mug is only ever given away or as a prize or as a gift. So you can't buy these. So I'm going to give one away to the Facebook group first of all. So anybody that's been in the Facebook group will have already commented on this. And there were 66 people commented on it, which is not too bad. There was about 300 comments, so I've had to wade through them all and get everyone's names. So what I've done is, if I can click across to here, you will see, if I can get my mouse working, from here, number 1 in the list, all the way through to number 66. And we've got a random number generator here. So this is the first one this one is for the Facebook group. I'm going to give another one away tonight to the YouTube viewers. And I'll tell you a bit later on how you can win one of these if you're not in the Facebook group. First of all, you should be in the Facebook group. Check out the comment section in every one of my videos, the description list. Sorry, check out the description in every one of my videos. There's a link to the Facebook group there, so come across and join us if you're on Facebook. But I'll give another chance for people to win one as well. So random number generator 1 to 66. Let's click generate, and we have number 33. So let's see who is number 33. And that is Hal Martin. Hal Martin, you are the winner. I'm sure I might have actually seen your name in the chat. I did see your name in the chat, mate. So congratulations, Hal. Please get in touch with me and I'll organise getting you the second ever winner of the BlackJack mug. So thanks, mate. And I'll come on and tell you all how you will all have a chance to win one later on. So let's have a look, because there's a few things coming through with my name on here. So I'll just check these out, and there's a few more people come in as well. Christian has said, The Walking Dead got me hyped to paint and play. The Drowned Earth got me excited to paint again last year, and Burrows and Badges has got me excited recently. Plus the Warcry Splinter Fang. Your painting's phenomenal, mate. I've told you this many times. It looks absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I'm not surprised some of them things have got you back into it as well. Michael Marines there is saying, I'm still, let's just jump my chat. Still get my Warcry assembled, but for me, I was hit hard about a year ago by Frostgrave, Dead Zone, and Vanguard. Those small skirmish games really got me back into the hobby. And Black's Cleric is saying, I was a bit disappointed that tonight's stream title wasn't you announcing a BlackJack Legacy painting service, seeing as how quick you've been cranking out your Warcry stuff. I'll come on to that soon, buddy. And Billy Mark says, Warcry definitely took a break from board. The chat's fast tonight. From board games, tabletop after some kill team. I can build warbands with minimal list building and teach a couple of friends and built and primed this weekend. Awesome. So we got loads of new people in as well. I've probably missed stacks and stacks of you off. So I will catch up with you as the chat goes through. If you're commenting, I'm sure I'll see your comments at some point. But yeah, at BlackJack Legacy. And then I don't miss it. So yes, tonight's chat. Let me just I'm going to minimize something down a second and make that one a bit bigger, and then I'm going to flick across. So for those of you, let me see if I can. Good radio, this isn't it, folks. This is how's the best way to do this? Because I've probably made that one a bit big. Let me just. I'll shrink that one down a bit and I'll move that one across. Brilliant radio, isn't it? Oh, there you go. I'm not going to mess about with it live on the stream anyway. So yeah, I've been painting some more stuff over the weekend as well. So this is my second terrain set that I've painted. I've completely painted the first one from the core set. I'm about halfway through the Mausoleum one as well, with spray cans and stuff. It needs a bit more kind of highlighting and stuff now. And then this is the second one that I've done, really, or kind of the third, but the second one I've completed, which is the Storm Vault, the Shattered Storm Vault. And I've done a kind of really, really quick job with it. It's all spray primed with Halford's camo khaki colour. If anybody in the UK, I tend to use those for these kind of big jobs. They're cheap cans of paint and they're not expensive. Yeah, so and then I've basically dry brushed it with Screaming Skull. I've then dry brushed it again with like a white dry, I forget what the title of it is, but it's a white dry paint, and dry brushed it again. A little bit of kind of blue in the different stuff as well. But yeah, it's pretty much all been dry brushed. The trick I did was I covered up some of these basically with masking tape so that I could just really quickly dry brush over the top. And it came out really, really nice. I'm really happy with how it came out. And I'm looking forward to getting a game on it soon. So, yeah, as Black's Cleric just mentioned there, I've kind of been smashing through it at the minute. I've been smashing through the stuff. Hal says, I've been a supporter of Andy since under 1,000 subs. You have, mate. There's a few people in the chat who've really been here since the early days. People like Christian and people like Mark Bearcloth and a few others as well. Yeah, it's nice to kind of I feel like we've kind of grown together. I think I clicked over 6,200 subs today. It's nice. It feels like a big community and we've all kind of grown together. Billy Mark says, I also think the announcement of contrast paints got me thinking about the hobby. Love the idea of finally painting up a lot of my board game minis. Yeah, I think I've mentioned it many, many times, but I was a bit like that a little bit about contrast paints. Not because I didn't like the idea of them. I actually tried them out at a UK Games Expo and wasn't really impressed with them. Since then, I've bought quite a few, and I feel like I've found how best to use them for my own personal stuff. So yeah, Hal, drop me a message, mate, and I'll get that mug out to you. Greg saying, Warcry has me excited enough that I stayed up to 1 AM painting terrain one day last week. It's been years since I've been this excited by a miniatures game. Completely agree with you, buddy, and I will promise I will get to explaining why. Rerolling Ones Jack says, do you still have your Beastclaw Raiders and Necrons? Yes, I do, mate, actually. My Beastclaw Raiders are on a shelf. They kind of tucked away up there. I'll get a picture on the Facebook group later on today. And my Necrons are in a box over there somewhere. But yeah, I still have them. I'm a bit of a hoarder, if I'm honest. I tend not to really sell anything. So I've got loads of kind of part armies dotted about all over the place when I've done bits of projects and stuff. Probably the Beastclaw Raiders are probably the last full army that I finished, really, like bigger scale. And I really enjoyed painting them. I like those bigger models. I just noticed the comment there. Vokdor saying, love the blue. What was the light blue? The lightest blue of the two of them was a Sotek green, and then highlighted with I forget what it was now, but a very slightly lighter one. Again, I'll put the comment in the post. Fomorian's in as well. He says, you're confidently going to 10k subs then, buddy. Do you know what it is, mate? It could all fall off the edge of a cliff tomorrow, mate. It's not really about the subs. I mean, the subs are a nice thing. Like, it's nice to see some kind of progression, but this month I'm having my best ever month on YouTube, both in subs and in sort of views and watch time and stuff. I feel it's just been kind of that perfect storm of I've found a game that I'm really, really kind of like I feel passionate about. It's come at a time when there's a lot of other people that are kind of really passionate about the game as well. And I think I'm kind of making content that maybe other people are not making. There's a lot of kind of unboxings and some battle reports, some better than others. I think re-rolling ones and 2 Plus Tough probably do some of the best ones, if I'm honest. And there's some that are maybe less interesting to watch, but I do this on my own, and it's quite difficult to do things like battle reports and stuff. So I have to look at what can I do with the time I've got available, and what can I do on my own. So yeah, I think I've kind of just hit a nice little kind of thing. However, could all change. Warcry sort of people's interest could fall off the edge of a cliff. All the people that subscribed in the past who are not interested in Warcry all click unsubscribe. Anything could happen. I'm here for the ride and I'm enjoying it, mate. Right. What was I just about to say there? Yes. Why have I kind of fell in love? Why has this reignited my love of miniature gaming? So, anyone that's kind of been around the channel for a while will have seen over probably the last year, I flitted around a lot between lots of different game systems because there were lots of different things that I played, and I always talked about the gaming systems that I played. I never really talked about the ones that I kind of had a passing interest in. Some things got sent to me for review, so there'll be the odd thing that I maybe got sent and then I've done a review on. However, I only ever reviewed the things that I was interested in. So I've turned down way more stuff than I've ever kind of accepted. And there was a good mix of painting and board games and everything else on the channel. And I think I was trying to find really where I kind of sat, where I felt I was best kind of like enjoying doing these channel and stuff. And I kind of fell out of love a little bit with miniature gaming, even though I was still doing it on the channel. I was still playing it with friends and stuff. Nothing really kind of grabbed my attention too much. There was a few games I enjoyed playing, and I'll come on to what they were and the reasons why they never really gripped me and stuff. There was a few things I was playing, but I started to play a lot more board games, and that kind of the immediacy of buying a board game, unboxing it, and being able to play it kind of gave me that same enjoyment rather than trying to put an army together over like sort of 12 or 18 months, taking ages to paint stuff. I kind of ran out of steam and not because I was doing stuff for the channel, just I kind of just went over that a bit of a hump really. And then early this year, January, I started doing 5 videos a week. I kind of got the wind behind me again. I was really enjoying it. I was mega organized. I did that for 3 months. And then around April time, I just kind of felt like this was going nowhere. I got this really kind of horrible, I felt like I was wasting my time, that it was never going to grow anything. And I got a bit of a downer about it, I think. And I've kind of taken quite a bit of a backseat. I've always kept these Monday Night Lives going because I always enjoy these chats. But I just kind of fell out of love a little bit with some of the gaming systems. The rules were just too hard to remember when I wasn't playing them very often. There was too much to kind of retain. some of the systems were so kind of well established, they just kind of got away from me, and there was just so much it was such a hurdle to get into and such a big learning curve, if you like. And very recently, I really did contemplate just giving this all up and just kind of quitting the channel and just having a bit of a break from gaming in general and just carry on playing my board games with my family and my friends. And I really did come close to kind of calling time on it. And then what happened was a little game called Warcry kind of came quite sort of, not that it was announced, but it was coming up soon. And I've always preferred skirmish games. I always prefer those kind of smaller scale games. One of my biggest loves of all the times I've been playing miniature games was that I used to love Malifaux, those kind of war bands or the kind of gangs of 7 or 8 models, and the really kind of scenario story driven games. I did go to a lot of tournaments and stuff, but they were more just to play new people. They were to have weekends away with mates, and they were to get out and sort of meet new people. They were never really about kind of. I've never won a tournament. I lie. I have won a 1-card tournament before. I've never won. I've never won a game at all. But I never really expect to. It's always just about the fun of meeting and playing new people. So yeah, so Warcry was getting quite close, and I thought, do you know what it is? I like the idea of a fantasy skirmish game, especially from Games Workshop, but I don't really think it's going to be for me. I think it's going to be AOS light. I got kind of turned off Age of Sigmar a long time ago as well, because the rules became so bloated. There were so many different kind of allegiance abilities, and the endless spells came, and then there was the malign sorcery stuff, and then there was rules for what the different terrain, different terrain features, or what the terrain effects were. War scrolls were all over the place. It just became an uphill struggle to try and keep on top of the game. And at that point, I just thought I've kind of had enough of Age of Sigmar. So I assumed Warcry was going to be Age of Sigmar light. It was still going to have all those layers of stuff on it. And I wasn't really going to enjoy it. Then, as I mentioned in a live stream a little while ago about why I completely changed my mind, the rules were leaked. And I read the rules, and it was just, I had this kind of this eureka moment of just, these rules are fantastic. They're really, really straightforward. I can read through those rules and understand everything that they're trying to tell me. There's none of these kind of, well, what on earth is that trying to what does it mean there? They were just straightforward. I understood them. They were nice and simple, but there was depth in them. I could see there was depth in the way you deployed, in the way how you'd strategize, how you'd all have to choose your team before you knew what the end goal was or the win conditions. There was just something in them, and it just instantly clicked with me, and I thought, this is going to be awesome. And I have to admit, up until that point, I'd only really kept a passing glance really on the models themselves. I hadn't really paid too much attention to them. So at that point, I started to look a bit more deeply into actually what the warbands were. Was there any particular models that I was interested in? And there were none that really kind of screamed out to me that I was absolutely in love with them. But I really liked them all. There was none that I kind of thought they're horrible. As time went on, the Corvus Cabal, the design of them, I think there was just something about them that almost kind of sort of savage land hunters. The way they kind of with their little kind of sort of torn off trousers and the bare chests and the kind of the skulls on their heads and stuff. They're probably the ones now that I like the most. However, I like them all. Games Workshop miniatures have always been kind of top of the tree for me. I've always enjoyed buying them and kind of just painting them. Even if I wasn't really playing their games, they're a pleasure to paint. They always go together well, and they always look awesome as well. Even if I've just kind of got them on display behind me or anything like that, they're just nice models. So I thought maybe this is a game I can give a try, or maybe this is a game I can really kind of get the wind behind me again. And then I went down to Asgard War Games, and a lot of the guys were going to Warhammer World for the Age of Sigmar Open Day, and they were saying, "Come on down, come and that they're going to have Warcry demos and stuff. You'll be able to try it." And I just thought, it's a hell of a long way to go. For me, Warhammer World is about a 3.5-hour drive. It's about 200 miles away, roughly. I just thought it's a long way to go just to get a demo. There's a local store near me, which is Asgard War Games, and Jamie, who was in the chat tonight, I'm sure I've just seen him mentioning about they're having them on a Wednesday. I went down and had a demo with Jamie, and I think we were the first people to play the demo in the store. And we played, and it just instantly, it was just, I kind of fell in love with the game there. And then at that point, I then pre-ordered everything that you could pre-order. The only thing I didn't pre-order was the ruler. There's been some controversy online about, I said it was a bit gimmicky, and people are telling me you'll not think that if you try it. I didn't order the ruler, and I didn't order the carry case as well. But I ordered the Cypher Lords, I ordered the core box, I ordered all 9 of the Warband cards for the original AOS factions, and I also ordered the anthology book as well. So I was kind of chomping at the bit. I couldn't wait to get the stuff. I was really, I was seeing everybody creating content online. The people that worked in gaming stores, the likes of sort of Jay and Steve, who were at Element, they were using the store demo copies. Channels like Sword and Steel, who also have a store as well, they were using store demo copies. And all this stuff was going up online. And whilst I couldn't wait to kind of, well, I was really interested in watching what everyone else was doing, I couldn't wait to get my hands on and do my own stuff. So when it eventually arrived, I have literally not had a day where maybe I have one day when I've been away with work, but I think I have painted or built or sort of like, I've certainly I've certainly clipped out sort of miniatures, built miniatures, primed miniatures and painted miniatures almost every single day since that release day. And I'm notoriously a kind of really slow painter. It's one of the reasons I struggle to get kind of sort of battle report type stuff done on the channel. I've got a full-time job, I've got a family, I try and do this. I've got sort of I've got teenage sons from a previous marriage who come and stay with me every other weekend as well. So I've got to try and sort of devote my time around. So I've struggled really to find the motivation and the time to paint when there's always been a million other things I wanted to do. However, with Warcry, I've just absolutely kind of fallen in love with it. I've painted the entire core set from a terrain perspective. I've painted the Iron Golems. I've painted Untamed Beasts. I've painted the Cypher Lords. I've now built the next 3 warbands, and they're ready to be primed at some point this week as well. So the Splintered Fang, the Corvus Cabal, and the Unmade are all built now as well. They're all ready to go. I've read the first story from the anthology. I sat and had a cup of coffee at the weekend and read through that. I've primed and kind of rattle-canned a little bit the Mausoleum terrain as well. I ordered that on the release weekend. I've just completed the Shattered Storm Vault terrain last night, as you'll have seen the pictures I showed earlier on. Just can't get enough of this game. And on top of all that, I have been playing as well. So it's not like I'm just kind of sitting here kind of painting away. I've been playing it as well. And I've just got so much energy for the game, and I can't. It's really hard to put my finger on it. There's a lot of things that I just feel that the rules are just really straightforward. I'm really enjoying making content for it. I love the theme of it. I've never been interested in the lore and the background of the game really since I played Malifaux, but for this I can't get enough of it. I listened to 2 Plus Tough, his chat as well. He just did a video recently with Glass Half Dead, chatting about Warcry lore, and I sat and listened to that today as well while I was doing some work, and I just can't get enough of the stuff. I absolutely love the game. I just love the fact that it's really straightforward. The list building at this point in time is relatively simple, so list building's the bit I enjoy the least. I'd much rather just throw together the models that I really like. It's the bit I enjoy the least about the hobby. So at this point in time, I feel like I can really get into the game. I'm on the ground floor with everybody else. I haven't got to worry about what's the kind of optimum lists or what all of this kind of stuff. I can just get in, play for fun, enjoy it, roll some dice, have a laugh. Games are around 45 minutes. I never feel like I'm having to invest sort of 2 or 3 hours into a game where I get halfway through it and I think there's no way I'm going to win this, but I just got to keep playing. I can have that game, and if you get a bit one of those kind of quirky setups with the cards where it gives you a bit of a weird unbalance or something, it'll be over with quick, and you just kind of re-rack and do a different mission and start again. It's all part of the fun. So I'll just very quickly dive into here, and then I'll come back to the chat as well. Loads of people coming in as well. Jamie there, TVS2K, is saying Wednesday is Warcry Wednesday at Asgard. Yeah, I'll have to try and get down there, mate. Volkdor is saying, do you like Sword and Steel's battle reports? I'm kind of mixed, if I'm honest, mate. I love the fact that they're having loads of energy and they're really enjoying it, and it comes across on camera. I'm always a little bit funny about that kind of like the wobbly hand camera thing. I like the way they're passing the camera backwards and forwards between them, rather than only ever seeing it from one side of the table. But yeah, they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job. Where are we at? JK's in it. Good evening, JK. Spec's in as well. He says, I had to watch this as I feel the same. Thanks for watching, buddy. JK said, found you recently and loving your Warcry content. You convinced me to buy it. Oh, it's just on my screen. You convinced me to buy it. My starter box arrived yesterday, and now to convince my gaming group back to GW after the post-AOS exodus. It's funny, isn't it? Because I would never consider myself like as a GW fanboy. It's not like I've scream and shout about them from the rooftops about how brilliant they are, and I don't care how much things cost. I'm probably like, I'm not anti-GW, but I've never been a massive kind of like advocate to ignore all of the bad stuff they've done kind of thing over the years. I'm just an average kind of gamer, if you like. But you can't deny over the last few years, they've really kind of turned it around. The community focus, the fact that they're kind of leading the way now when it comes to miniature games. They really are back on top again. The quality of their miniatures is second to none. Some of the way these Warcry miniatures fit together, you kind of have to look at them twice. You think, how on earth does that fit there? I'm looking at the picture, but I'm not really sure how it fits, and you're kind of spinning them around a little bit. And all of a sudden, you just kind of get it aligned, and it just kind of slots in, and you think, that is amazing. How have they even managed to kind of come up with that? And I know you can't really modify them too much. You can't change the weapons out. But for me personally, I don't care about that. I just want a miniature that looks really, really cool. And that's certainly what they're providing. Greg is saying, Burnout is a reason why myself and my buddies rotate amongst Legion, Song of Ice and Fire, Apocalypse, Star Wars Armada, and Fallout miniatures. And now Warcry. You can burn out and stuff. And I am conscious at some point that I will need a little bit of a break from this as well. But I can't see it coming anytime soon. I mentioned before, I'm a really slow painter and stuff. But I'm absolutely ratcheting through this. I'm knocking out a warband in about 5 hours. I'm knocking out a terrain set probably in a day or two. I have never been like that before. I'm sitting listening to podcasts. I'm listening to other channels, and there are some great channels for Warcry, and I really feel like there's a really nice community that's springing up around it as well. Some GW games, unfortunately, can be a little bit aggressive or a little bit toxic towards new players, but there's something about Warcry that, because everybody's kind of getting in at the same time, there's just a really nice community sprung up around it. So yeah, I'm kind of, I feel fortunate to be part of that from the start, really. Let's have a look. What else we got? Glenn Griffin is saying the ruler's great. Yeah, there's a few people told me that now. I'm going to have to try one if I'm honest and see what it is it's all about. Marco was in as well. Good evening, Marco. He said, it's great to see you happy about gaming again. One question. You refer a lot to the box warbands, but no reference to the other factions that require list building. Why is that? The reason is, buddy, is because they're bloody expensive at the minute. I did paint up, you might not be able to see them. I did paint up some brutes for Iron Jaws. So I did some of those before Warcry came out because I was so super excited. But at that point in time, we didn't know what the models would be, which you could use. The reason I've never gone into kind of the Stormcast and stuff is because they're split across multiple boxes, and I'm a bit of a completionist, so I'd end up buying kind of multiple things. I've looked at Stormcast Eternals because I'd quite like to build a little Stormcast group, but they're split across things like the Hurricane Bows, they're called the Hurricanes, I think, aren't they? They've been out of stock since Warcry and that was announced. The Vanguard Start Collecting box is like £60. There's a lot of stuff that I have to buy. I've got to look to spend maybe in the region of £60 to £100 to get the AOS factions. For £30 I can get the warbands. So there's plenty of mileage in them for me. Once I've got them all and I've painted them all, maybe I'll start to have a look elsewhere and try and pick some other bits and pieces up. But it's the new stuff that's kind of energizing me. The old AOS stuff, I like some of them, but I've bought like Stormcast models just to sit and paint and stuff because I like them. I obviously don't have the right ones for Warcry, but yeah, at some point I'll get into them. But it's not because I don't like them; it's just because they're a lot more expensive, actually. Dice Tail says, so not list building, you're not getting multiple of the same gangs or one fighter you want a duplicate of. Nah, not at all, mate. I'm not interested in spending another £30 to buy models I've already got, where I won't use the leader because you can't use a second leader, and I probably won't kind of. I'm not that fussed about it being like the optimum build. I'm more interested in this just being a story kind of playing out on the table. That's why I've bought all the terrain sets and stuff. It's not just about the game for me. It's about kind of the enjoyment and the visual aspect of it, and that's why I'm only playing with the warbands when they're painted, and that's why I'm blasting through it all. The kind of the competitive edge of this does not interest me in the slightest at the minute. It might do over time once I've played like many more games and I start to get those little the kind of the nuances of how the abilities work and stuff, and I've heard that the AOS faction ones are a bit more thematic actually, and they're a bit more fun to play. So over time, maybe I will, but at the minute, that doesn't really interest me too much, mate. I'll say 100%, who cares if you lose a game turn one due to deployment, etc. It's chaos. Yeah, there is that, mate. It's just, and I get that. It's not that great. You set it up, you get on there, and then you realise there's this really weird combination where one team can't win or whatever it is. But you'll know that soon enough. Just stop playing and start again. It's not the end of the world. Like as I mentioned, there's something like 31 million combinations of those four decks of cards. There's bound to be some really strange setups. Excuse me. Oh, I hiccuped at the same time as I burped there. There's bound to be some really weird combinations of them, and there's no way they could have play tested 31 million versions of it. That's why if you just use the what they called the symmetrical ones, if you just use them, like the match play versions, you'll probably minimize that happening. Don't use the twists, that kind of thing. But I don't mind that. There's nothing wrong with playing a bit of an uphill battle. We've got Anthony as well from Revenant Tabletop Gaming. Hello, buddy. Douglas there is saying he played Warcry at the weekend with his adult son who's all about 40k. He hates chaos, yet he loved the game. Couldn't believe he got the same fun with not more in 40 minutes. Yeah, it's just something 2+ Tough had said on one of his chats I was listening to was he basically just what he wants to get out of a game is those memorable moments. He wants to kind of end that game and go, God, that was amazing. Can you remember when your model sort of crit mine off the top of the bell tower and it fell down and he died and then dropped the treasure and all of these kind of things, those moments in the game that make the stories. And that's exactly what I feel like I get from Warcry. And I've not gotten that from another game in quite some time. I've enjoyed the games, don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed them, but I've never got those kind of memorable moments. And something that he also mentioned, and I've mentioned this on some other streams, was about that kind of that 25% chance of doing anything. So as Sam Pearson had mentioned on one of his one of the interviews he did, in AOS, if you're hitting on a 4+ and you're wounding on a 4+, there's only 25% chance you're going to do anything. And that's before you even take into account the save rule or any kind of mitigators that anybody else can have as well. And the only reason that these bigger scale games get around this is because you're rolling bucketfuls of dice. So it's still only 25% chance you're going to hit and you're going to wound, but you're rolling so many dice that it could happen more often. And then you throw saves in and that'll take it down further. But you can roll 40 dice and do 3 hits. That feels like such an anticlimax when you've got that many models on the table. I love the fact of Warcry. There's a really high percentage chance you're going to hit somebody. But the fact that they can kind of jump down, swing that axe, take a big lump out of the character, but that character doesn't instantly die. They've got like 30 wounds or something like that. The feeling of hitting something multiple times and doing damage and chipping away at it until eventually you take it down feels so much more satisfying than swinging and missing and swinging and missing and swinging and missing till eventually you hit them sort of in round 3 or 4 and you kill them with 1 hit. It's so much, there's just something much more exciting and enjoyable and thematic about it. VGN agreed, when new systems come out that put the neckbeards on the same level as the noobs, so you don't get much gatekeeping. I mean, I think that we kind of got a little bit of a weird situation when it was in that kind of 2-week pre-order window where people like Guerrilla Miniature Games got their sets and they were doing videos and people were talking about it and the rules were leaked. We got that weird mix of people who were saying, it's stupid, it's too simple, I don't like the rules, I don't like the fact it's chaos, all these kind of things. And there was a bit of a divide. However, that conversation still became quite sort of constructive, really. What it really did was it made a clear line down the middle that said, you either love this game or you're going to hate this game because it's not what you want. And that pre-order window and sending out review copies, that's exactly what that time is for, really. It's to allow GW, to allow people to understand a bit more about it and decide, is it for you? Is this something that you're going to be interested in? And I think once we got over that initial kind of first week of release, where the people that weren't interested kind of drifted away, the community just seems to be really... I don't see any horrible comments in the chats, in the Facebook groups and stuff. I'm sure, I don't read every single comment, but the stuff I've read, people just seem genuinely helpful. I mean, there's people coming in saying, I haven't picked it up yet, I haven't got the rule book, like what do I need, or what do I do here? And it's not that kind of, that mentality of, oh, well, just go and buy the rule book and then you'll know what you need. There's people helping each other out, and I'm trying to kind of be active in and around those communities as well, to try and help people out, because people help me, so it works both ways, and that's how these communities grow. Zingbo's in, he says, one of the box of Savage Orcs when you get all the bone splitters you need. You do, mate, yeah. And the only reason I didn't get them initially was one of the people I play with already had a painted bone splitters army, so I didn't want to kind of duplicate what we had between us and stuff. But yeah, that's definitely the cheapest one. Some of them get quite expensive. I think is it the Legions of Nagash one, or it might be the Idoneth Deepkin one. One of those two is quite expensive, I think. We've got Jackson as well. He says, I can't paint for shit, can't glue for shit. Enjoy sitting trying to make a warband or kill team in one. Perfect relaxing for an old vet that just wants some peace and quiet. Good talk, Jack. And he's in nowhere. Yeah, I've loved just putting a kind of a Netflix series on, or putting a kind of a podcast on or something. And I've really dialed back on the kind of quality that I've tried to achieve as well. Getting these completed has given me so much more enjoyment and motivation than trying to paint to the best of my standard. I showed you before my the terrain stuff I've been doing. It's pretty much all just spray cans and dry brushing. It looks great on the table, and I could have spent more time on it, and it might have been a bit kind of fancier and stuff. But would I have got any more enjoyment from it? Not at all. Not in the slightest. Like, somebody commented about how nice the flames looked today on my Twitter picture of the little forget what they call now. Wonder if I can flick back and show you it. Is it these? I don't know if it'll show up on the screen. That's the thing. Let me. Brilliant radio, this, folks, isn't it? Right monitor. You can just kind of see it in the corner of the screen there. Somebody was saying about how nice they looked. It's literally sprayed white. It's got a contrast paint over it, and then it's dry brushed white again. That's all it is. All of this stuff is just, it's a kind of a Sotek green color, a dry brush of a lighter blue, and then a dry brush of white over the top. And it just looks really, really effective. I'm really happy with how it's come out. Al says, you implied sarcasm where there was none intended, mate. I love that it's chaotic. Sorry, mate. No, I didn't mean it was. I didn't mean to imply any sarcasm there, mate. Not at all. It is chaotic. It's meant to be chaotic. That's part of it. It's when I went back and I was chatting about the balancing games as well before, and about how we don't really want balance. Bringing this kind of stuff into the game, just it stops the game sort of. It stops us talking about, oh well, that model's overpowered or that one's an auto include. You can, like, as an example, one of the things that Guerrilla Miniature Games talked about when they gave their review of this was, whichever model has the most activations will win. That's just how it's going to work. I've just had a donation there as well. Thank you very much. I think it is VG, I think, isn't it? It hasn't popped up on my screen yet. It's just come at the top. It is VG. It says, bring on Skaven in Warcry. Yes, I would not disagree with that, mate. Yes, so sorry, he was basically saying that the more models you have, the more activations you have, therefore you'll win. But I've been like sort of like looking at games recently, and that's not the case, because you bring lots of models to the table. Those models tend to be much more kind of underpowered and easily kind of picked off. So if you think of things like sort of bone splitters or something like that, they can be quite easily picked off. So you might have lots of models, however, and lots of activations. However, if the objective of this game, if the one we're supposed to, if the win condition is kill the leader, or kill sort of kill the shield, then they're kind of like, it's easier to do it when you've got more models. So it's not as simple as it was first thought, really. You really have to play games. There's a lot of people kind of giving their opinions on the game after playing maybe one game or two games. You really need to get games under your belt, really, to appreciate the kind of some of the nuances of the game. Tavinder's in as well, said, would you consider doing comparison video between Kings of War Vanguard versus Warcry? If people are interested in both games and they want to see what the differences are, I'll quite happily do that. It's all content for me to make. Paul is saying, was there something in particular about Kill Team that didn't grab you like Warcry did? Kill Team absolutely grabbed me a while ago, mate. I really enjoyed it. I was looking forward to Kill Team. I've always been interested in 40k, but could never kind of muster the energy to paint that many models for a full-scale game. And I thought that Kill Team was going to be my route into the 40k universe. I could read the books, I could get interested in the lore, I could paint the miniatures up, and this was my kind of foothold in. And that's exactly how it started when I first started playing. You go back and see some of my original Kill Team videos, you'll kind of see I was quite enjoying the game. But then it kind of moved very, very quickly. So we had Commanders come out, we had Elites come out, we had Rogue Trader come out, we had Arena come out. I was playing quite easily, and I still play now, to be fair, now and again, with just the core rulebook. I tend not to play with all of the different command point stuff. I tend to have the command points, and I probably use them for rerolls. I kind of forget about all the specialism stuff and all the different stuff that they do. And the game just became a little bit rules heavy and a bit bogged down. And so, because the miniatures were already available as well, it was really hard for people to get excited about stuff for Kill Team, because we'd all seen it all. It had all been out for quite some time. Like buying a box of Primaris Marines to paint up to make a Kill Team, whilst it was fun and stuff, they weren't like new models to get excited about. So I just felt that there was too many options, and if you turned up to a gaming store, or you turned up to a gaming club, and you said, do you fancy a game of Kill Team? There was this kind of weird negotiation of, well, are you using Elites, or are you using Commander rules, or are we playing Arena, or are we playing the original stuff? It became like a negotiation on what you were going to play. With Warcry, there's just the game. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why Kill Team, for me, it was the lack of new stuff, the lack of kind of exciting new sculpts, and with the combination of just too many options. And I always say, I know you don't have to play all the different options, but it just becomes sort of confusing. Phil Hall says, I used the Underworld Night Gobos as it gives you all you need apart from 2 squigs. I managed to get them from a friend, so all I paid for my first warband is 17 quid. That's brilliant, mate. If you can kind of use some of that stuff, that's definitely the way to go about and do it. I would have said like picking things up second hand and stuff would have been the way, but I assume everybody's trying to do the same thing now. Lee's in as well, scouting the web there. He said, I'm with you, Andy. I got sucked into the AOS competitive scene and it started eating me up a bit. Winning became a bigger focus than the story, and just playing a game for fun is more appealing. Yeah, I mean, so but when I tell my story about playing Age of Sigmar, Lee was at the same gaming club as me. The guys at the gaming club, and I've said this before, great set of guys, and I still chat to them now. But they were more tournament focused. They were more about the list building and kind of getting those winning combinations. And it was quite hard basically to roll out my Beastclaw Raiders and just kind of and get owned every game. Really, it stopped being about having the fun on the field. And the only reason I continued to play was because I was having fun with the people, and the game wasn't that fun really. Greg is saying that absurd buckets of dice and numerous dice rolls are exactly why my buddies and I. Let's just jump up the top of my screen again. why my buddies and I don't like 40k in AOS but love Apocalypse and Warcry. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about a game where you're rolling bucketfuls of dice. A lot of people quite enjoy that, but I'd rather roll less dice and have to chip away and take something down over time rather than have to roll buckets and buckets of dice to try and take 1 or 2 wounds off. Yeah, Lisa in there. AOS, ton of rolling for fat load of nothing at times. The hobby doesn't compare to what the models do here. And Greg's saying that's what we have. That's why we have jobs and kids, so a faster game is welcome. 100%, mate, yeah. We've got a few more people in as well. Barry Kleiber's in as well. We've got Fumble in. 2+ Tough says, BlackJack Legacy is my spirit animal. We are just on the same page. 100%, mate. I mentioned that on your video the other day. It's a real shame you're so far away because I think we share a lot when it comes to kind of our sort of the type of hobby that we want to have. 100%, mate. Somebody commented today on one of the Warcry Facebook pages. I showed my terrain off, and somebody had said, "Would you ever do a video with 2+ Tough?" And I said, "If Doug's up for it, I am. So if you want to do something together, Doug, let's do a video together." I have no idea what it could be yet, but I would love to do something with you, mate. Carrie's in as well. Good evening, Carrie. And Devon's in. He says, "I've seen your Warcry painting results. To me, they're gorgeous. Love the colours you used." To be honest, mate, a lot of my colour choices are by the paints I've got. I do have quite a good kind of range of paints, but I haven't gone out and sort of specifically bought certain paints for certain models or anything like that. I've kind of made do with what I had. I like painting blue. I like painting red. That's influenced some of the stuff I've done. My Cypher Lords, I went with that kind of like purple and pink just to try and push me to do something a bit different out of my comfort zone. The reason I've been painting the terrain up for the Shattered Storm Vault is I'm not really sure what colour choices I'm going to do for the Unmade and stuff yet, but something will come to me. I'm trying to get them quite individual, so on the table it's very obvious that the different colour sort of warbands. Lisa in there. 3+ Tough, I agree. +1 from me. And yeah, VGN off there with a donation as well says, "Bring on the Skaven in Warcry." I think if anybody would say to me, which faction would you like to see in Warcry from AOS, Skaven I think is the one I would like to see. Just because I think that from a theme perspective and the fact you've got the Horned Rat and there's that Chaos link as well, I think it could be quite interesting. Johnny English is saying you can use the Warband models in Age of Sigmar as well, right? They have war scrolls. They do. I think they are Slayers to Darkness, I think they are. Is that right? Something like that. But yeah, I don't really plan on using them, I don't think. Optimus Prime is in as well. It says, "Good day, better late than never." He's here. Nice to see you, my friend. The chat is going nuts tonight. I can see there as well. Had another donation as well. It says, "Buy a pot of paint." Thank you, Douglas. Very, very much appreciated, buddy. I will. What will I buy with it? Let me think. I need some more Agrax Earthshade actually. So yeah, there you go. Johnny English said, "I think there are Chaos Dwarfs on Forge World." Chaos Dwarfs are mentioned in the background as well to Warcry, so who knows, they might be there at some point. Kieran is in as well. Kieran saying, "Counterpoint, how will folks feel when GW's eye moves to the next new thing to keep their balance sheet going? When the hype dies down, they'll want folks to buy the next game." I'm sure they will, mate. But I think if you look at how they've released Necromunda. Necromunda was a slow release. Blood Bowl was a slow release. But they've continued to support it, and there's new stuff coming all the time. It might not be as fast as some people would like, but there's a continued support to it. I think that's where Kill Team fell down, was because there was never really any need to release anything new, because all of the model range was already there. So we kind of lost a little bit of energy because there was nothing for people to get excited about. Now, GW are no different to any other games company. If you take Privateer Press, if you take Mantic, if you take Warlord, they're all about whatever their latest thing is, and then they kind of move on and do something else. So that isn't a problem that's kind of linked just to GW. But I think that there's something different about Warcry over, say, Kill Team, for example. Look at what they're doing with Blackstone Fortress. They're still releasing stuff all the time for it. I just think they're getting better at it, really. They've kind of got their heads around that these games will continue to sell long into the future, they're having to bring a second starter box for Kill Team as well. It wouldn't surprise me if Kill Team starts to see some new stuff, and maybe we'll start to see Kill Team going in a new direction. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, there's going to be something else that they'll hype up and stuff. However, if the game's still fun and I'm still enjoying playing it, and there's still things I can buy and paint for it, it doesn't influence kind of my enjoyment how excited Games Workshop are about it. Brandon Rutter saying they'll release Kill Team 2.0 with Warcry overhaul. Don't kill me. I'm not sure they will release Kill Team 2.0. If they were going to do that, the second starter set was the time to do it. And the second starter set's got exactly the same rulebook as the first starter set. So I don't think they will, mate. I'd be really surprised if they do. Bazza said, I promised myself I'm painting everything I own before I buy anything else, and I'm on track. Nicely done, buddy. I've certainly done that for Warcry. I've painted everything I bought before I bought anything else. I just managed to paint everything I bought in a week, that was all. Yeah, Tim's saying it's got the same rule book in as well. Paul Palms is saying, are we certain GW won't bloat out Warcry with extras? I'm absolutely certain they will add stuff to it in the future. There's already stuff in the rule book that is mentioned that we don't know about, things like gargants and mounts. I think they'll release more kind of narrative type stuff. And at the end of the day, they're a business. They're going to try and sell stuff to get us to buy more stuff. So do I think they'll bloat it? I'm not so sure. But do I think they'll sell loads more stuff for it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they will. And it may add layers of rules down the line as well. It may bring in magic, for example. It may bring in sort of rules for the beasts. It could be sort of extra stuff like that. But again, just play the bits that you fancy, I think. Where was it? Kieran saying, where was it? Just jump up. Where GW need to keep churning to keep people buying. Whilst a smaller buy-in appeals to players, it's not what sustains GW. And selling toys trump game balance. GW's always been about selling miniatures. That's exactly what they say. They've never made a secret of that. They even said with the Warcry stuff that they hadn't even touched the rules until the first miniatures were designed. If they can bring out some cool models, they'll write a rule set to kind of sell those models. But I don't think it's a GW thing. Every company does exactly the same thing. Like, because I know you do a lot of stuff with Mantic, mate. Mantic's in exactly the same boat. So they've just sort of released Walking Dead Call to Arms, and then it's never been heard of again. They've never mentioned it since it kind of hit the shelves. Vanguard came out last year, hardly gets talked about until, I mean, there's a new Vanguard book out around now, I think. I've hardly heard anything about it. So it's not limited to Games Workshop. Every company needs to sell new stuff, and they need to hype up the new stuff that they're selling, and they need to get excited about what the latest thing is, because that's when everybody jumps on board and buys it. And then once they've bought it and once it's gone, then they've got to get on board with the next big thing. I don't think I think GW release more than most people, which is what gives them the bad name. But I don't think they're doing anything that other companies are not doing. Farhead is in as well. He says, hello from Kuwait. Don't you think Warcry is just too streamlined at the minute and won't add some complexity to it, make it more interesting? First of all, Farhead, thank you very much for joining the chat. My personal opinion is, no, I don't want it any more complex. The reason I love the game is I don't want complexity. I just want to have fun. I don't want to be trying to remember 25 extra rules that my warband can do. I love the fact everything's on the cards in front of me. My abilities are on a card in front of me. The rules are really straightforward. The enjoyment and the fun I get from the game is from playing it and from creating them stories and those kind of magical moments, not from trying to be the winner because I remembered more rules than my opponent did, if that makes sense. For people that are into those kind of crunchy, granular games, fantastic, knock yourself out. There's loads out there. But I'd rather we didn't kind of change what Warcry is to appeal to the people that don't like it as it is, if you like. There's other games out there that have got more crunch. Play AOS, play AOS Skirmish, play Vanguard, or whatever it is. There's other games out there. I just kind of like Warcry as it is, really. We got Neo's in as well, says even all. Jason saying Doug and BlackJack video would be great. Who knows, buddy? Who knows? Where else we got? Peterson, you don't need to buy every new GW release. That's what I tell myself. I don't buy every new GW release. I've not bought GW stuff in quite some time. I've bought everything for Warcry because it's the game I'm enjoying. But I'm not suddenly going to go out this weekend and buy all the Space Marine stuff, and I'm not going to buy Blackstone Fortress stuff. I think people get kind of hung up thinking that they have to buy everything GW make. But GW make like 10 different games. Why would you need to buy everything? Who else have I mixed? Kieran Cini thinks the concerns of the bubble is so good right now, kind of a perfect storm of stuff, that the come down might be all the harsher for it. There's always a chance, mate, but like I say, that's the same for any company. Is it any worse because some companies create a game that doesn't create any hype and then it falls away and never gets spoken about? Why should GW kind of take the brunt of it because they've created a game that's got a lot of interest that people are enjoying? I don't feel they're any different to anybody else. There's other games that come out and create a lot of hype. Sort of Gangs of Rome came out and created quite a lot of noise not too long ago. You don't really hear too much of that now, but nobody's complaining that the people that bought the game and the people that are playing the game still enjoy it. It's just some things create more hype than others, that's all. Carrie said he's waiting for Skaven as well. Oh, my chat's going nuts as well, just jumping off the top of the screen. Jason is saying, having a few games under his belt, I love the fact a good list doesn't have to be the fastest or the strongest, but needs to be a well-rounded group to deal with any of the varied stuff. Yeah, me as well, mate. Like I said before, list building's not really my forte, really. It's not where I get my enjoying from. So I much prefer the fact I can rock up with anything, really, and I've got as much chance as anybody else, really. Williams in as well, GB Gamer saying buy more plastic glue. I just had to buy some at the weekend, mate, so I'm alright for now. Adam says, didn't want to ruin the topic, but I already knew you chose something Warcry. No, the topics that I asked people to comment for in the Facebook group were for future weekends, for future live streams rather. So I've got some ideas for the future. Today's was always going to be about this. Carrie said, I would like to see non-aligned models that can be hired by anyone, such as a Dark Oath Chieftain. It wouldn't surprise me, actually, if you could kind of throw in some kind of mercenary stuff. That would make it quite interesting. Daniel is in as well. Good evening, Daniel. Said he would like to see Skaven Warband as well. What do you think of Blackstone Fortress expansion price? To be honest, mate, I've never played Blackstone Fortress. The game didn't really appeal to me at the time. I was put off a little bit by the kind of the playthrough demos. It just didn't seem like my kind of game, so I've never really kept that close an eye on it. So I know there's an expansion coming, but whether it's good value or not, I have no idea, mate. John Cleve says, Necromunda is a beautiful, complete game now with all the expansions, and I love it, but I hope Warcry doesn't get too many expansions too quickly. Yeah, I'm with you on that, mate. I did get a bit of a shock that they released so much so fast for it. However, saying that, it hasn't changed the game, it's just gave more options, really. And I wouldn't mind a little bit of breathing space now for a few months, just to kind of let the game bed in and get some games under everyone's belts. Paul saying, with Kill Team, I like the opportunity to buy little various 40k skirmish armies. I like the way they released the rules so that you could only play what was in the box, if you like. So there wasn't rocket launchers if you didn't get rocket launchers in the box. I like that model. I must admit that. I thought that was quite good. Where else we at? Douglas is saying, I'm almost giving away my Kill Team stuff. If anything else, Blackstone Fortress. Yeah, I've hung on to my stuff. I'm hoping it gets a second wind, if I'm honest. Lee says, when he emailed about stock for Warcry, they said it was a main game, so the new release for it could be fast for this. That said, Underworlds is a fairly niche release rate, but glad it's a main game. Yeah, I mean, Underworlds is probably another good example of that kind of ongoing support. It doesn't come too frequently, and it's done in kind of seasonal rotation type things, but they've supported it all the way through. 2+ Doug there is saying, I find myself excited for Warcry expansions and dreading more AOS expansions. Yeah, the AOS expansions just seem to put another level of rules on top of another level of rules, and it's the interaction between all those different things that just makes it hard to get your head around, or certainly hard for me to get my head around. Bobby Clark is in. Good evening, Bobby. He said, it's a breath of fresh air painting the warbands. I agree the GW quality is great. As a commission painter, I find it interesting. Change painting small groups instead of armies. Yeah, it was one of the things with Kill Team was I got a little bit sick of painting the same thing. So when I was painting a Space Marine kind of Kill Team, yes, I was only doing like 10 models or something, but it was 10 of the same thing. If I was doing like an Orc Kill Team, it was 10 Orcs, but they were pretty much 10 of the same thing. With these war bands, there's no two models the same. Like they're wearing different kind of clothing, they've got different weapons. It just feels like they're a bit more of a pleasure to paint them, if I'm honest. Just jump off the top of my screen now. I'll catch up. Paul saying, seems I hear the same complaints with every GW game. Eventually, there's too much stuff. I think it's a bit dead air there. It's a valid point, and I think there has been. I'm not sure. Sort of Underworlds has gone the same way. The only thing with Underworlds is there are a lot of cards, and I don't like the way you have to buy certain packs to get certain cards. So I don't like that sales mechanic. But I think they've kind of kept the game relatively under control from a release schedule. Necromunda took a little bit of tidying up and stuff like that, but it's it's boiled down to a good place now. I think. I think the problem is with things like AOS and 40k. The core rules are pretty stuck, so they can't really do anything with the core rules. They can't kind of tweak them. They can't try something new. Everything they release has to be linked to those core rules. So all they can do is release new warbands with new codexes and new armies with new codexes or new battle tomes, and introduce new rules to those armies, which then make it confusing for everybody to understand what the interactions of those are. So. Where we are, everyone's given 2+2 a bit of love, 100%. Where we at? Marcus is saying, I think Warcry will be great boot camp weekend game. Yeah, I can imagine that as well. You can almost paint a warband up in half a day type thing, and then rock some games out over the next day. Alex Kaiser is saying, hey guys, me and my friends wanted to get into Warcry, but unfortunately the simplicity of the game put them off. That and the fact the new Marvel Miniatures game has their attention now. There's a few people actually been mentioning about the Marvel game. Somebody sent me a message on Twitter today asking if I was going to be getting interested in that. I'll be honest, I don't know a lot about it. One of the things that kind of worries me is the fact that the terrain for the game, it's a different scale. I think it's about 40 mil scale. And the terrain will be quite sort of specific to it. You're going to have to try and build terrain for a different scale game, which is going to be quite much more kind of modern day, if you like. So I think getting it to the table is going to be quite difficult. It's on a 3x3 as well, so it's going to need quite a bit of terrain. It's one of the things I like about Warcry, the smaller board size. Kieran is saying the point isn't about GW's perspective or any other companies. It's about the player base and the community and the impact the further selling has on that. That's my concern. To be honest, mate, from my own personal perspective, as a gamer, nothing to do with making videos, any of that kind of stuff. If I've got somebody to play the game against and I'm enjoying playing the game, I don't really worry. I'm not really worried about it. I want to enjoy playing my games. I want to enjoy painting my miniatures, and I'm doing that really. If it falls down flat and it doesn't get supported anymore in the future, then as long as I'm still playing it, I won't be disappointed in it, and I'm getting enjoyment from what I've done. So, Carrie saying, I thought Batman's rules were unique and solid. I maybe missed that out of context. I don't really know where that one come from there. Barry saying, I agree with Warcry. A higher model count doesn't equal. That's just jumping on top of my screen again. Higher model count. Where the hell is that? There. Doesn't equal victory. Too many random variables. Yeah, definitely, mate. Where we're up to. Roxanne says, haven't heard any discussion around SPQR buried in the Warcry avalanche. For me personally, mate, it doesn't interest me in the slightest. I'm not really into that kind of historical Romans and that kind of stuff. Yeah, the other side of it is the miniatures themselves don't really float my boat. Like if it was a choice between kind of Warcry miniatures and those ones, it's the same with that Warlords of Erewhon as well. That Warlord did. They just Like, nobody talks about that anymore. There's another example of a game where they kind of they shout about a new release and then it kind of gets forgotten about and it's lost in the ether forever, kind of thing. Just the SPQR just doesn't appeal to me personally, but it doesn't make it a bad game or anything like that. It's just not my kind of stuff. Where are we at? Tashrin is saying, what's your thoughts on them adding more RPG elements and characters in Warcry? I think we'll definitely get characters in Warcry. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if we get extra leaders, or maybe we will get these kind of mercenary faction, like sort of characters that can go into anybody's warband. I think we'll definitely see that. And I think it's really marketed as a kind of a narrative game, really. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get like narrative expansions with extra kind of missions in and more campaign books and stuff like that. I'm not really an RPG player as such. Oops. However, this for this particular game, I think I'd like to see that actually. Where's all the this chat is going lively tonight. Tim Kelly there saying just bought Iron Jaws Brutes and Warcry card pack from Element Games. You won't be sorry, mate. They're really nice models, those actually. Daniel says the best thing for Kill Team is the rules from White Dwarf, adding demons and Eisenhorn. I've just saw them actually, mate. I picked up the July issue of White Dwarf because I wanted to get it for the Underworld's kind of pit fighting thing. You know, the single models for like up to 5 players. I wanted to get it for those rules, and I saw that the Kill Team rules were in there. Let's see if there's anything else there. Christian is in there as well. He said the rules for the Marvel game are free to download on Atomic Mass Games website. So what's the crack with Marvel? Is it something to do with Fantasy Flight or not? Somebody told me it was, and then somebody told me it wasn't. I've not really seen a lot about it, other than I've seen the model sculpts, which look very nice but look very expensive. Hal says, time to get back to work on the ranch. Take care all, and thanks for the win. No worries, buddy. Just drop me a note and we'll get your address and stuff, and I'll get that sent straight out to you. Brandon says, I think you're thinking of a Shadespire Warcry crossover. I don't mean the cards aspect. Forget what the comment was now, mate. I forget what it was. I was talking about Shadespire at the time, though. Where are we at? Chris is saying he really liking Warcry. Just played 3 games in under 3 hours yesterday. Fast and fun. That's what it's all about, mate. And he also saying just found your channel too. Very cool. Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. Lee's having a chat there as well. Alan Shrew is saying what I found interesting reading the rulebook was the keyword Gargant that has some legs. Yeah, no doubt we'll find out more. I think it wouldn't surprise me if the next releases have that kind of. We might see some more about it. Maybe heading up towards. I'm trying to think how it's working now, because the fact that on the Games Workshop YouTube channel they were painting blood letters today wouldn't surprise me if there's some more kind of demony or some more chaos stuff coming for AOS. I'm trying to think what slots are kind of left this year. Are we expecting any warband? We've got the new warbands coming, the new armies coming for AOS, haven't we? With what they call, you know, like the ogres and the beast thing. I forget what they are now off the top of my head. So we've got those coming. Trying to think what slot, whether we'll see any more Warcry stuff this side of Christmas. It wouldn't surprise me if it ties in maybe with some of the new AOS releases. Alex is saying the Marvel Miniatures game very cinematic, introduces special attacks with different models. Iron Man firing into Captain America's shield to rebound and hit an enemy model is hilarious. I like the idea of that, mate. It's I think the game is there's 3 of the guys from Privateer Press, I think, isn't it, who've written the game as well. So it's obviously got some kind of pedigree in there. I'll need to do some more digging. I'm a Marvel fan. I love comic books and that kind of stuff as well. But it just seemed quite expensive, I think. But the individual models seemed quite a lot. Dustin's in as well. He says, I'm late. Dang it, with work. Did I miss the draw? You did, mate. Hal Martin won the draw. However, I was going to tell you how you can win a mug, wasn't I? So, everybody on the channel tonight, what I want you to do when this stream is finished, either later tonight or tomorrow, I want you to come back and comment in the video down below in the comment section. Comment and tell me which game reignited your love and your passion for miniature gaming. Have you ever had a bit of a slump and basically there's a game that's just kind of got the fire in your belly and made you want to kind of play again? Was it the first game you ever played and you've never lost that fire in your belly? Whatever it was, come back to this video and comment on this video, and then on the next live stream we'll do a draw from the comments of this section. It's the easiest way to do it, and it means anybody that watches it back later, because these live streams have been doing really well lately with extra views after the event, it means anybody can join in and try and win one as well. And I should just say as well, there isn't going to be a live stream next week. I'm having a few days away on holiday with my wife and my son. We're just going somewhere in the UK. We're not going too far, but I won't have access to my PC and stuff to do the live stream on the Monday night. I will try and get a video up so there's something for you to watch if you want to do a bit of painting or something. But yeah, there'll be no live stream next week, and it'll be back to normal the week after. I'll drop a note in the comments about how you can enter for the mug. But yeah, that's what we'll do. So yeah, you can still win one, okay? Alex is saying the problem with Marvel is the price point. Hulk model is like £30 on its own. Yeah, that's kind of what's putting me off. I'm sure they're beautiful miniatures and stuff, but could get expensive quick, couldn't it? Paul said, I'm surprised when you say nobody talks about Era 1. I think it depends where you look. Rick Priestley's active on his website supporting the game, and their Facebook page is active. I'd agree, mate. It's probably active in and amongst its little community, but it never gets talked about outside of that. I've never seen anybody talking about it in a live stream. I've never seen anybody talking about it in kind of normal gaming groups outside of the kind of the specific group for that game. I've not seen anybody sharing pictures of stuff they've been painting for it. It just seems like it's just really under the radar, if you like. So, for example, in my group, you see people doing stuff for Gangs of Rome. I see them doing loads of Mantic stuff. I see them painting sort of World War II, like bolt action stuff, board game pieces, all sorts of kind of weird, kind of and wonderful sort of third-party games I've never even heard of. But I haven't seen anybody doing any stuff for Warlords of Erewhon. But like I say, it's a really kind of small snapshot. James Sullivan says, joining really late from the USA. Good evening. Good evening, James. Another one of the members as well. Thank you very much for joining in. Christian says, don't know much about the Marvel game. It doesn't look like it's anything to do with FFG. The price point will probably keep me out of it. It's actually getting into it though. Yeah, exactly, mate. Tol Mart says, I thought you said you were going to talk about the Warcry ruler. I'm intrigued. Essentially, the ruler is bendy, and it means you can kind of move it around stuff, around terrain, around models, and it keeps its shape. It looked like a bit of a gimmick, and there's a few people kind of chastise me, saying you have to try it first before you pass comment. So yes, it looks a bit gimmicky. I've never used it. I've heard it's really good. Brandon says they don't say in the core rules, would you just do a 3 to 4 round tourney and there's 2 point leaders have a finals? They don't say in the core rules, would you just do a 3 or 4 round tournament and then 2 point leaders have a finals? I'm not really sure, mate. I think it's it'll be interesting to see how they do that. I think they do not say just to do a Swiss system, basically. So just winners play winners and use a Swiss system. I think. Daniel says, enjoy your vacation, bro. I'm looking forward to it, mate. I'm going away on Monday morning. I'm coming back kind of Friday at tea time. Just having a few days break away from home with the family. But yeah, I won't have my equipment to be doing live streams and stuff. They certainly won't be good enough Wi-Fi, that's for sure. Greg saying, show us the mug again. There you go, mate. There's the mug. This is the one you can win. So it's got BlackJack Legacy around the bottom there, and on the back you won't be able to see that for the bright lights, but it actually says, "Don't drink me." #mugwatch, which is a bit of a kind of like a bit of an inside joke, really. It got to a point where every week I was having a different kind of mug on the live stream when I was drinking from, and it became a bit of a mug watch. What am I drinking from this week? Peter's saying, Andy, you're having a break from live stream, is it, mate? No, mate. To be honest, if I thought I could do the live stream, I would, because I'm still staying in the UK. It's not like I'm flying abroad or anything like that. But yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do it with the Wi-Fi that's at the place where I'm going to. Lee saying, starter sets for Warcry and Marvel are pretty close price-wise with reductions, and war brands versus characters similar for some. I know which looks better value for money. Yeah, I think the starter set's not too bad a price, but then when you factor in you won't get any kind of terrain or anything with it, and I doubt you get 2 full sort of teams, if you like. Roxanne said, same is true of Project Z. Released, then nothing. Is it a Warlord thing where bolt action historical rules? No, I don't think it is, mate. I think most companies do the same thing. I think if you look at sort of Infinity, they'll release, or if you talk about Corvus Belli, they'll release a new kind of a new expansion for Aristea, and then you don't really hear much about the game until the next expansion comes out. Mantic do similar stuff as well, so they might release a new board game. So, for example, Hellboy came out. They released Hellboy. There was lots of hype about that. It hit Kickstarter. It did great guns. It sold at retail, and then they've not really mentioned anything about it. Not until the next expansion came out ahead of time at Gen Con. Not really heard much about it. Warlord exactly the same as well. You've got to talk about the latest stuff. They're relatively small companies. They have a very relatively small marketing budgets, and you have to talk about what the latest thing is. The shame for me and the thing that disappoints me about most of these companies is they kind of forget those games. They just get like left on the shelf, and they forget to do new releases for them, and they just keep selling the new stuff. I would like to see it. Like if you think about like Dreadball, its popularity, for an example, it's surprising it's still so popular, bearing in mind it hardly ever gets spoken about really by Mantic these days. There's certainly not been any new kind of teams released in quite some time. 12 Neef says, super late, can't stay, still at work, keep up the good work. Thank you very much, buddy. Marco says, I'm definitely going to buy a 12-inch flexible rubber stick. Dustin says, have you measured the markings on the ruler? Those old red GW sticks were awful. I've not got one to measure it, mate, to be honest. Matt says, I think it's more the community that drives the hype for games. GW community is so large, it's easy to keep the hype going and harder for smaller companies with smaller communities. Yeah, but in reflection of that, if the games are good enough, then the communities will be singing from the rooftops about the games, and surely that would kind of keep it going anyway. And then there's still an onus on these companies to promote and sell their games, isn't there? So you can't rely upon the community to sell the game for you. You have to go out there and do it. I mean, I work for a big company and we sell big branded products, and we advertise on TV and we advertise on the internet and all that kind of stuff. Because if we just released something and shouted about it for a couple of weeks and then never did anything again, people just kind of forget about it. I mean, I'm drinking Coca-Cola here. Look how much advertising Coca-Cola do. There's nobody in the world doesn't know about Coca-Cola, but they don't just give up on advertising. They don't give up promoting their product. They don't give up sponsoring things, because being front of mind and being on people's lips is all about, you have to be seen to be talked about. And if you stop talking about your game, if you stop promoting it, if you stop, like all of these companies have got YouTube channels. They could all just do like free videos if you like. Do you know what I mean? There's stuff they can do, and for whatever reason they choose not to. Games Workshop are the same. They're not immune from it. They're not like knocking out videos for Necromunda every few weeks. A lot of these companies do the same thing. They stop talking about stuff. Yes, the games are still there. Yes, you can still buy them, and yes, people still play them. But you have to keep. That's the essence of marketing, basically. You have to put these things in front of people. You have to make sure people remember these things. Otherwise, games just die and disappear. And even worse, what happens is a new game comes out and everybody forgets about the old one. So Warcry might be flavour of the month at the moment, but there's a lot of other games that are really, really good that are just not being talked about. This is the perfect opportunity to scream from the rooftops about other games that are in the same kind of area as this. Warlords of Erewhon, this is a perfect time to scream about their fantasy skirmish game and say how cheap it is, for example. I find it strange. I work in new product development and marketing and customer service and all of that kind of stuff, and sort of project management, and everything I've learned, I don't see a lot of it in the miniature games industry. Maybe it's a different industry, so it has different ways of doing things. Just know if it was my company, I would do something different. Paul saying, Warlord are only a small company, although giants in the industry. They have to focus their resources. They're focusing on SPQR now. They don't have much resources for post-sale support. In that case, mate, I mean, Warlord are not that small. I've been around Warlord, and they've got quite a lot of people working there. the problem is why spread themselves so thin? Why basically why keep releasing more and more games when they could grow those games? We're going on to a different subject here, and I could talk about it all night because I have these kind of feelings in my own job, my day-to-day job kind of thing of building up a brand and releasing new products and stuff. You can't afford to walk away from these things. If you haven't got enough resources, you need to kind of cut your cloth. There's no point having 25 different games and then never telling anybody about them, because what happens is they don't get sold in shops, so retailers won't stock them. So nobody buys them because they don't see them on the shelf, and nobody buys them because they never see anybody playing them. So these games come out, they make a bit of money, and then they basically forget about them. That seems to be the kind of the way of a lot of these companies working. Mark's saying, great stream. Cheers, all need some sleep now. Thanks, mate. Safe journey back as well, all the way back from your destination, from where you are now. Did you say Singapore? You said to say Singapore, didn't you? Forget now. I forget where you said you were. But safe journey back, buddy. Glenn said, I didn't see it, but I heard the new Hellboy film wasn't as good, and that might have impacted on the game. I loved the Hellboy film, mate. I don't think it had any impact on the game, really. I think that the biggest impact on the game was the fact that everybody backed to the Kickstarter, and Mantic had made their money on it, and then it went into retail, and it sits on the shelf with all the other kind of 6,000 board games that come out every year. It's a competitive market, and Kickstarter is why a lot of people use it, because they can make big sums of money in a short space of time and not have to sort of scream and shout about retailers selling their stuff, and not have to bang on the door and shout and market something. Kickstarter is an instant burst of cash for people. Mark was saying, did you play Batman Gotham City Chronicles at all? Still never had my first game, mate. Still sitting there in the box. I've unboxed it, I've looked at it, I've started painting some of the miniatures, still never played it. Tasrin says, I feel like channels like this and Guerrilla Miniatures have opened my eyes to great games like Frostgrave and Relic Blade. I feel smaller games are doing well nowadays. It's smaller. I think the thing to remember is smaller companies and smaller games don't mean they're poor. There is some absolutely fantastic games out there made by companies you've never heard of, really, and it's getting them in front of people. And this is one of the reasons I kind of did some of the stuff on my channel, was to really give some of those kind of smaller games a little bit of kind of space, really. The problem is, because nobody plays them, nobody searches for them on YouTube, nobody looks for them, so your videos don't get watched. So as a small kind of channel, I can't really help those smaller companies, because like when I had 500 subscribers, nobody was looking for these obscure games. As I grow, people like Guerrilla Miniature Games have a really kind of a big platform to be able to put sort of those kind of games in front of some people's eyes. I'm starting to get there a little bit now. More people are watching my channel. Therefore, if I talk about something, more people hear about it. The problem is that you can't sustain the YouTube channel talking about smaller games all the time, because what happens is everybody just stops watching it. Nobody watches anymore. Christian was saying Error 1 and Project Z with just rules to make them sell their repacked miniatures from Wargames Factory. They were bad models, hard to assemble, and not that great looking. Yeah. Paul saying, I totally agree with you. The industry as a whole is very amateurish when it comes to marketing. Also about distribution, but that's another story. Yeah, I find I love getting kind of into the business side of things and understanding the industry, and I would love to work in the industry at some point in my future, because I feel coming from a major kind of, I work for some big brands basically. I'm a product development manager. I run a team of product developers, and we design new products, and we have to launch into the market, and we've got to look at margins and kind of return on investment and all those kind of things, and how we market them and how we speak to retailers. I know I could kind of bring some help to kind of some companies really, and do sort of look at it from a different angle. But I do feel there's a lot of companies in the miniature games industry that are sprung up by people that do this as a hobby and kind of hit lucky maybe with a new rule set or something, and are not really equipped to know what to do with it. Just because you have a good game doesn't mean people are going to buy it, unfortunately. Thailand, that's where it was. I don't know why I said Singapore. We got Thordlim there saying, like Kill Team, hardly any news or noise. I think it's because there's nothing new coming. Even the new starter box is just repackaging old stuff, isn't it? Sadly. Phil saying, if you're a games company with games developers on staff, they either lay rules on top of games or they make new games which require marketing focus. Can't have developers idle. I completely agree, mate, but I think what you find is a lot of companies, especially the smaller ones, will either hire in games developers. So, for example, people like Steamforge, for example, brought in Needy Cat Games to do Devil May Cry game. Needy Cat Games are doing a new game for Mantic, for example. So some of these companies don't have developers sitting idle. They bring them in for projects. So, to be honest, it's the bigger companies that have their own developers, really. Robert Marshall says, I'm in. Bobby Clark says, have to say it's pretty cool to see and hear how enthusiastic you are about your Warcry journey. Look forward to seeing what you paint up next. Yes, mate, I think I'm probably going to finish. I'll probably do a warband next, actually. I might do my unmade. Oh, no, I think I might do my Splintered Fang next, actually. JK says, did you see Christian Wade score a touchdown on his first ever carry in the NFL? Awesome. I did, mate. I did. Really, really pleased to see that against the Cowboys. Daniel says, I discovered your channel when I searched for making a game table. Still going to build that falling table that you made. I still got that table, mate. It sits in my garage and I still use it. And Black's Cleric says, Warlord games are infuriating to follow. I bought big into Doctor Who, Exterminate, but they've barely released anything this year. Instead, looking at Strontium Dog and Dread. Yeah, sadly. Peter says, I meant to build that table. I didn't get the wood yet. And GB Gimmer says, Andy, will you be going to Salute? Do you know what it is? I said I'm not going to Salute anymore in my video, and I didn't go this year. And I'm not really planning on going next year. What I'd like to do is I'd like to go to Salute and work for somebody, demo a game for them. You know, go and give some sort of like get people playing something, because I think that would give me the opportunity to. It would be a reason to go. I'd get down there. I'd be able to kind of see some people I never really get the chance to meet face to face, and it would give a purpose to the journey. I just think if I go down there to wander around the stalls, I'll be done in a couple of hours, kind of thing. I don't feel that there's enough to take me there. However, I would love to go to meet people, but there'd need to be a reason. So I'd quite happily work for somebody. If anybody wants somebody to work their stall at Salute next year, I will happily come and do that for you. And on that bombshell, as they say, we'll call that the end of the live chat tonight. It's 10:30. So it's been a busy chat tonight. We've kind of gone off topic a little bit, but I don't mind that kind of stuff. It's good to kind of get off topic now and again. Don't forget, if you want to win one of these mugs, come back to the video. I don't think you can post a comment in the comment section until the video is just like a normal video. So come back to the video either later tonight or maybe tomorrow. You've got a couple of weeks to do it because I'm not live streaming next Monday. We'll pick a winner the Monday after. Just come back and comment in the comments below. Let me know which game really kind of put fire in your belly again when it comes to miniature gaming. Everyone's saying enjoy your time off. The Gamecraft Dragon says howdy from the States. Good evening. Blamby says thanks for the video on the terrain assembly. I used it in the linked article as a base for my terrain out of the starter box. Awesome, mate. And everybody is saying good night. Jimmy G says never mind Salute. What about Border Reavers? To be honest, mate, it's always been a bit historical for me when I've been in the past. I've never really enjoyed it, so I tend not to go. Everyone's saying thanks and enjoy your holiday. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone. And I'll have another video this week, so you'll see a video this week, and I'm trying to get a couple of videos ahead for while I'm on holiday next week. But I'll see you in the live stream in 2 weeks' time. So don't forget, no live stream next week. I'll see you in 2 weeks. So thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.